Hello, my name's Angel Soliveris and I would like to welcome you to the show, Making a Connection in Lancaster. Today we have a special guest with us. Melissa Seawick is the Executive Director of Big Brothers Big Sisters of Lancaster County. Melissa, welcome to the show.
Thank you, my pleasure to be here.
Great, it's great to have you here. Melissa, for the benefit of our viewers, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and how long have you been with Big Brothers Big Sisters?
I am a newbie to Big Brothers Big Sisters. I've only been there since January. I came from United Way and a long career in nonprofits, so this is definitely within my field. I'm honored to be chosen by Big Brothers Big Sisters to be the executive director. I mean, it was of course wonderful when I was offered the job, but
right.
As I've learned more, it's an honor to be there. It's a great program.
That's great. It is a great program. It's been around for a long time, but there are some people that still, are not familiar with it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why we're going to be discussing Big Brothers, Big Sisters of Lancaster County, their programs and their services today, and hopefully you can fill in some of the blanks for us.
I hope so.
One of the questions that obviously a lot of people have, or not a lot of people, but some people still, they're not familiar with Big Brothers and Big Brothers Big Sisters. Can you tell us a little bit about the program?
Sure. Our basic premise of the program is that we match a child, which we call the little, with a mentor who we call the big, and those two people form a relationship that's one-on-one. So we want the big and the little to spend quality time together alone, because our research shows us that that is the best interaction that can happen and produces the most positive results for the child. Mm-hmm. For at least a year, but most of our matches last a pretty long time. Our average is 3 years, but I've talked with bigs who have had their little for 7, 8, 9 years. It can last a lifetime, this relationship. So we have two different types of programs. One is the community-based, and that is anybody in the community can volunteer, and we will match them with a little who has a need to be part of this program. Our other program is our school-based program, which happens at a school setting. Typically, those mentors are from high school or college, and they meet with their little throughout the school year in a supervised manner at the school.
Okay. All right. And what about the mission statement of Big Brothers Big Sisters? Tell us a little bit about that. Our
mission statement is to make the one-on-one mentoring relationship, to make that match, and to have lasting changes forever. Forever is the really important part. When they've done research on people who used to be littles when they were children, mm-hmm. they found that that experience lasted a lifetime for that individual. So they were more likely to graduate from high school, more likely to move on to a trade or go to college, and in the end ended up being a productive adult who gave back to their community.
Okay, great. And what can you tell us about you said there's 2 different mentoring programs?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Have you seen some improvements in the youth's grades as a direct result of the mentoring program?
Yes. The wonderful thing about Big Brothers Big Sisters is that it is called a blueprint or evidence-based program. And that means anywhere you go in the country, if there's a Big Brothers Big Sisters, they are producing the same type of results across the country. So it's been tested and proven again and again that within the first couple of months we see improvements in behavior, self-esteem, and then within a year we see improvements in academic performance and behavior at school. Mm-hmm. So the child is more likely to advance grade to grade and then eventually graduate from high school.
Okay, great. And how about the self-esteem aspect of the youth? Have you seen improvements in that area?
We do regular monitoring of the match. So that's what kind of differentiates us from other mentoring programs. It's our match support. So once you get matched, we don't kind of just throw you out there and saying, okay,
right.
go visit. It's a process where we check in with you and make sure that the match is progressing as it should be. And if it's progressing as it should be, we definitely see that the child has improved self-esteem. They feel better about themselves. They know that they have a caring adult in their life beside their parent or grandparents or whoever loves them.
Right.
They have this other person that they can confide in and trust in, and their self-esteem definitely grows. Antisocial behavior plummets. We usually don't see that coming from the children in our program.
Right.
And their relationships with peers and adults improves.
Well, fantastic. What are the qualifications for youth to be to apply for Big Brothers Big Sisters?
Well, this is a kind of a tricky part, and we go through a thorough assessment. The most important part of whether or not we would accept a child into the program is that they want to do it. There's no point in an adult or the Big Brothers Big Sisters program forcing a child to be part of a mentoring organization. That just sets up everybody for failure. So that's number one. Number two is we take those children who have high risk factors. So those high risk factors could mean that, you know, maybe if we don't intervene, they might fail school or they might get in trouble with the law. It's all of those kids who you can see, if we don't do something to help them, there's going to be bad repercussions in the future. They haven't gotten in trouble yet, they haven't failed school yet, but you just know that if we don't do something.
Absolutely.
We cannot take the kids who have already had a criminal history or have severe mental health issues that aren't currently being managed, because that's really too much to ask a volunteer to take on.
Right.
You know, most of our volunteers are just people in the community who feel like they have something to offer a child, and it might be too much to ask them to take on a severe mental health disorder or whatever. But we do a thorough assessment to make sure whatever we're asking the mentor to take on, they feel like they can do it, and of course the child wants to have this relationship.
Okay. So if a child, let's say, has some kind of criminal background at a very young age, does that disqualify them from the program?
It doesn't disqualify them. I mean, it's really on a case-by-case basis. If it's a severe history with violent behavior, that's too much for a volunteer. But
you need a specialist for that.
Yeah.
And what are the requirements for boys and girls to participate in the program? Ages and so forth.
We start taking referrals for girls age 7 through 14, and boys 7 through 14, and girls is 6 through 14. Girls are a little bit more mature, so we can take them a year earlier. The 14 cutoff is not, once you turn 14, you don't need a mentor anymore. It's more if we don't match you by the time you're 14, research shows us that relationship is less effective. So you really need to be matched beforehand. The earlier, the better, because that way you can have this long-lasting relationship.
Right. So you're basically doing the middle school age, not so much the high school.
Right, yeah. By the time high school comes around, we have lots of children in our program who are in high school, but they were matched when they were in elementary or middle school.
I see. So they really have to start out early in the program.
Right.
Okay.
We end the match when the child graduates from high school if they've been matched prior to age 14.
Okay, I understand.
But that doesn't mean the relationship ends.
Right. No, I understand. Okay, and what is the process to get Big Brothers Big Sisters for the youth? In other words, to get them into the program and stuff. What is that process like? You said you contacted, the child has to want to do it, correct?
Yes.
So how are you making that connection with the kids?
Our matching and enrollment process is very thorough. Okay. So we may get a referral from a guidance counselor or a teacher or somebody at school. But the most important person that we hear from during the referral process is the parent. Okay. We want parent buy-in because you really need to understand the benefits that this program can have for your child, but also the important part that you play in that. I mean, we're not replacing you by any means. We're just enhancing whatever wonderful skills your child could have in the future. So we need to hear from the parent. We will do an interview with the parent separate from the child, and then interview the child separate from the parent. And then we go on the other side, we go through this entire process with the potential mentor.
Okay, all right, great. And what about costs? Is there a cost for the parent or the child?
There's no cost because we get funding from the Drug and Alcohol Commission and United Way that helps us support the cost of the program. So it's free for the child, free for the parent. We do provide low cost or free activities that the big and the little can do together on a monthly basis. But the big is really responsible for any cost that might be incurred for activities.
Okay. And who are the Big Brothers, Big Sisters, the volunteers? Where do you get those from?
They come from all over the place. You know, for our school-based program, they typically come from the junior and senior pool of kids or a nearby university or college for people who, you know, either want to volunteer or need those credits to graduate. But our community-based program, they come from lots of different places. We go out and do speaking engagements all the time to try to recruit bigs because honestly, that's where our gap is right now. We have 70 kids on our waiting list. Most of them are boys because men are less likely to volunteer for this type of program. So if you're a man and you're listening to this and you feel like you have something to give back, please call us. There are 46 little boys waiting for you.
Okay, and you said the majority that you have on the waiting list are boys. What about the ones you already have in the program? Are boys still the majority there?
It's pretty evenly split.
Is it evenly?
Yeah, yeah. It just takes a longer time for us to match boys because there are less men who volunteer. We will also match a boy with a big couple. So if you and your spouse or partner are interested in volunteering for Big Brothers Big Sisters, you can do that together and we'll match you with one child.
Yeah, and let's be clear because this program is not just for, say, single child, if there's a single child in the home.
Oh, right.
I mean, because there's a single child in the home, and then the brothers and sisters are older and whatnot, and they don't want anything to do with that kid. Okay, so they also can come into your program. They have siblings. And
stuff. We don't have any restrictions on your nuclear family, so to speak.
Okay, very good. And as far as the volunteers, I know you guys do an extensive background check on them. Tell us a little bit about that, if you will.
All volunteers, of course, go through a significant interview process with our enrollment specialist, and she is really looking for stability of personality, stability in your lifestyle, so you know you're not coming and going, you're not a transient person, you don't have a job that takes you out of town. They're also looking for child safety issues because unfortunately that is something that we need to screen for. We do a state police background check for the criminal history and also a child abuse clearance. If you come from out of the state, we would do a federal background check on you as well. So that whole process in itself, if we're really on top of things, can take up to 6 weeks.
6 weeks process.
And then, of course, there's training that you need to go through to be a big.
Right. And have you experienced difficulty getting volunteers because of this background check process?
No, I think most people understand coming in that this is something that we require, and we don't hesitate to say to somebody, thank you for your interest, but if you're not going to be part of this, we can't have you.
And can you say anything about what would disqualify someone from becoming a mentor? Something.
Well, one, if they have criminal history, child abuse history, absolutely we can't have that. But if you're interested in volunteering, you have to have been a resident for at least 6 months of Lancaster County. We don't want you to be in a transition period. So if you are just getting married or just graduating from college, we're going to ask you to wait 6 months. Just so that you see how those new things are going to affect your life. And the reason why we do that is because if we match a child and the match ends before a year, that's kind of like our magic point in time. If it ends before a year, it is actually more harmful to the child than if we had never matched them at all. Because now this is just another adult letting them down. So whether it's on purpose or not, we need to be careful about that.
Absolutely. How about the volunteers? Do they get any kind of extensive training to become mentors? Or?
We have two types of training. One is called relationship building, and it's really a training that helps you know how the match is going to progress. You know, a child may not like you immediately.
Right.
They might be shy. They might, you know, second guess their decision to be part of the program. It's going to take time for you and that child to build a relationship. So you need to understand that coming in. It's not going to be magic from the beginning. It's gonna happen later.
Right.
And then also you need to have a clear understanding of child development. You know, if you don't have children of your own, understanding those developmental stages is really important.
Right.
You know, kids are quirky.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
They might be doing something completely normal for them at age 8 or 7 or whatever.
Absolutely.
And then the other piece of that is looking for signs of for a child who may not be safe. Because you know you are really in the front line and you need to know what abuse might look like.
Right.
You know, and we're not saying that kids automatically, because they're in their program, are going to be abused, but our volunteers need to know what the signs are.
Right.
Our other training is for our Amachi program, which is specifically for children who have an incarcerated parent or a parent who was incarcerated. And the additional piece of training that comes with that are family dynamics around the incarcerated individual.
Okay.
Every family reacts differently, and we're not there to change it.
Right,
we're just
right.
there to help the volunteer understand what it might look like for that child.
Absolutely. Your organization is a nonprofit. Do you guys work alone in your programs, or are you partnering up with other organizations as well?
We do partner up with a lot of different organizations because, you know, there are limits to what we can provide. So our match support specialists are always talking to the parent and to the child and to the big about community resources that they may need. We utilize the link resources from United Way a lot.
Right.
We do work with other organizations that serve children of incarcerated parents. And then, of course, being a United Way partner agency, we have that entire network that helps us.
Okay. What is the process for matching Big Brothers Big Sisters with the youth?
Well, first of all, it's not a first come, first serve basis.
Right.
So we have, you know, the 70 children on the waiting list. We also have 35 bigs who are waiting to be matched.
Okay.
And the reason for that is because it's not, you know, one child plus one adult equals a match. It's one child with the same interests, likes, you know, the family has some say in what kind of person we would match with their child, with an adult who has similar interests. So we're not going to put an adult who likes to play video games with a child who has to be outside burning energy.
Okay.
You know, that's very important. Location is important. You know, we're not going to match somebody from Elizabethtown with somebody in Solanco.
Okay. And the other question that I've gotten from people that I've talked to about this program is, as far as transportation is concerned, when the big is involved with activities with the child, do they transport the child to the different activities, and is that their responsibility?
Yes.
Or is that still Big Brothers Big Sisters who's responsible for anything?
No, the big is responsible for transportation, and you know what? That is the other check I forgot to talk about. We do a vehicle motor driver's license check.
Right.
You know, because if you have a problem with speed and crashing into things, we're not going to say that you can have a kid in your car.
Yes.
But yes, the big is responsible for going to the home and picking up the child and taking them wherever their activities lead them for the day.
Okay, very good. And what type of activities do they usually engage in when you pair up?
It usually just depends on the match. There are some matches who have their standby thing that they do, whether that's going to the bookstore or the library. If they can't think of something else to do, that's where they go and they spend their time. They could play video games all day. They could go to a park. They could cook for the afternoon. The important thing about being a mentor is that you don't have to change your lifestyle to make it effective for the child.
Right.
So if you do something in your family that's different from what the child experiences in his or her family, that's a learning experience.
Okay.
So it could be anything. And we have lots of resources at our agency to help the big figure out what to do, especially in the beginning when you're just getting to know each other.
Okay, once that relationship with the big starts, do you sit down with the child in the different periods and talk to the child about how the relationship is going and whatnot? Is that one of the things that you do?
We assess the match after 2 weeks.
Okay.
And then again monthly for the first year of the match. So that's what the match support specialist does.
Okay.
And that person is responsible for checking in with the child, checking in with the big, and checking in with the parent, because we need to know that you're comfortable with everything that's going on.
Right.
And then we also have regular activities that the big and little can come to do together with us, with other bigs and littles.
Right.
So we always want to make sure that we're having the opportunity to talk to the child. We also do some assessments called the Strength of Relationship survey that really helps us determine if this is, going in the right way.
Okay.
Because like I said, it can be harmful to the child if we mess up the match or the match ends too early.
Okay.
But we want to intervene when necessary.
Absolutely. And when you guys match them up, and if you, during one of those meetings with the child or the big, and you discover that the match is not going well, what do you do at that point?
Well, it's really kind of a three-way conference at that point. So we need to find out from the child, well, why isn't the match going well? Is something happening? Or are you just not comfortable? Is it not clicking with the big?
Right.
We also need to talk to the big and find out his or her perspective on what's going on. And we need to talk to the parent. Like, is there something that's happening at home right before the child goes into the match that's causing some chaos?
Okay.
And wherever we can intervene, we will, whether that's referrals or doing some case management and counseling. And if we need to end the match, then we'll do that very carefully. It's not just, okay, you're finished. It's we help you say goodbye. We help you explain to the child why that might be necessary, so that they don't internalize it and take it personally.
Right. Okay. Very good. How about bilingual staff and volunteers? How are you guys set on that?
We could do better.
Okay.
We did have a bilingual case manager who has gone on to a different position, but we do have volunteers that we can count on if we have a volunteer or a parent or a child who is not speaking English.
Right. And at this point, you do encourage people that are interested to contact you.
Absolutely. Yeah. We'll do whatever it takes to make sure that you get the service you need.
All right. Melissa, so if viewers out there would like more information and have more questions for you, who should they contact?
Well, in order to enroll a child or to enroll as a big, you want to contact Rachel Sipe. Her number is 397-7567. And she does all of the interviewing. You could also contact Luann Smith over the summer. She'll be doing intake and enrollment. You can also check out our website, bbbslancaster.org.
Right.
There are some forms and general information if you just need to understand a little bit more. But you can also just call in and talk to anybody who answers the phone about the process if you have questions.
And I checked the website out; it's really good. You guys have a lot of information on there, so I would encourage people to check the website out first, because more than likely the question you have is right there. It's being answered for you. Is there anything else that's happening at Big Brothers Big Sisters? Anything new that you would like to talk about or mention?
We are participating in Keys to the City this summer.
Okay. What is that?
That's where all the pianos appear downtown.
Yes. Okay, yeah.
Our piano is at Musser Park.
Okay.
And it's been there since the middle of May. Okay. So you can go down and you can play the piano. It'll be there through September. But we are also having some events later in the summer, in August and September. One of them will be a kids carnival, and then we're having a grilling cook-off.
Okay.
So, check our website or friend us on Facebook, and
that cook-off, is that where some of the business leaders do the cooking?
We do a similar event in January called Men Cooking from the Heart.
That's it.
And we're calling this summer's Men Grilling from the Heart.
Okay.
So everybody has to bring their grill.
Yeah, well, men like to grill.
They do. And, the reason why we do that is to highlight that men do volunteer and they participate, and Big Brothers Big Sisters is a great place to get involved.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, Melissa, thank you for sharing all that wonderful information with us, and for being here, helping us to make the connection in Lancaster. I really appreciate you coming in. There you have, my friends. We would also like to thank you for watching, because without you, these programs would not be possible. So please stay tuned for some more interesting topics in the weeks ahead. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great day.